It was a 17-second voicemail that ended a lifetime of loyalty. My wife's voice came first. Cold, rehearsed. You're out of the family business. Expect a call from our lawyer. Her brother, Eric, chimed in, "It's best if you don't make this messy." No explanations. No chance to respond. Just a declaration that I was no longer welcome in the empire I had built with my own hands. I didn't argue, didn't call back, didn't scream or plead. I simply texted, "Understood." But what they didn't know, what they didn't even think to consider, was that I owned 85% of that business. It had been in my name from day one. They assumed my silence meant defeat. They assumed wrong. You see, trust had been a fragile thing in our marriage for years. My wife, Claire, had grown distant, secretive. Eric was always around, always too involved. I had my suspicions, but I had always been the kind of man who believed action spoke louder than accusations. That voicemail was their action. My response was simple. I called my lawyer and told him to begin the sale process immediately. Within 24 hours, my 85% share was sold to a competitor. No negotiations. No second thoughts. Clean. Legal. Done. Then the call started. 100 missed calls in less than a day. Claire, Eric, their tone changed from icy to frantic, from power plays to desperate begging. "Please, just call us back. Don't do anything rash. You're making a huge mistake. We can fix this. This isn't what we meant. Please, just talk to us." But I had already talked, with my actions. You see, they thought I was bluffing, that I needed their approval, their validation, that after years of being the man behind the curtain, I wouldn't dare step out and burn it all down. They were wrong. Claire had never been in it for the business. She was in it for the comfort, the image. Eric? He was ambitious, but lazy. He wanted the rewards without the grind. Together, they had plotted to push me out, believing their combined charm could sway me, or at worst, intimidate me. But they underestimated what betrayal does to a man who's kept quiet for too long. That business was my blood, sweat, and sleepless nights. It had been mine before Claire ever stepped into my life. And when she did, I believed in partnership, not just in marriage, but in dreams and ambition. The problem was, she believed in power plays. When Claire and Eric realized the sale had gone through, they showed up at my house. No more voicemails. They stood on my porch, eyes wide with panic. I opened the door, calm, measured. "You sold to them?" Eric spat. His composure was cracked, unrecognizable for the man who had always strutted around like a prince in waiting. Claire was shaking. "Why would you do this to us?" "To us?" I repeated, the words foreign on my tongue. "You made it clear. I'm not part of us anymore." Claire's face twisted. It was the first time I saw her without her mask. No charm, no calculated expressions, just raw, desperate fear. "This was a misunderstanding," she said. "We were angry. We overreacted. You sent me a voicemail to destroy my life. You didn't overreact. You showed your cards." Eric stepped forward, tone venomous. "You're nothing without that company." I smiled, not because it was true, but because it was so laughably wrong. "I built that company. You're nothing without me. The thing about power is, people like Claire and Eric think it's a game of possession. But real power? It's the ability to walk away and still hold all the strings. They thought cutting me out would force me into a corner, but they were standing on a board I built. All I had to do was pull the foundation out from under them. After the sale, the competitor began restructuring immediately. Departments were merged. Jobs were reevaluated. Claire and Eric were no longer family. They were liabilities. Their positions were terminated within a week. Claire sent me one final message. A long, rambling text about betrayal, about how I had thrown away our life over misunderstanding. She painted herself as a victim, as if her and Eric's coup had been a mere emotional outburst, nothing serious. But she knew, deep down, she knew this had been coming. I never replied. I moved into a smaller place, quiet, comfortable, far away from the corporate towers and charity galas that once filled our lives. I wasn't interested in revenge tours or public takedowns. I had done what I needed to do. I cut the dead weight from my life clean and surgically. In the silence that followed, I found peace. The world didn't end. My identity wasn't tied to the company. In fact, I started consulting small businesses, helping other entrepreneurs avoid the traps of trust one had fallen into. Claire and Eric faded into obscurity. The last I heard, they were attempting to start their own venture, funded by loans, fueled by desperation. But ambition without groundwork is a sinking ship. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't bitter. I had given them the rope, and they had fashioned their own noose. Sometimes silence is the loudest move you can make. And when you've been underestimated long enough, it becomes your sharpest weapon. They thought I would beg for my place at the table. Instead, I sold the table and took the floor beneath them.